Ladies and gentlemen, on the last show, I told you about the National Cigar Day they were having at House of Firuza Cigar Lounge. And I told you that we plan to go down there and have ourselves a grand. We are taping today's show the morning after that event took place. And I got to tell you, for all of you who stopped by, it was great to see you. We had a fantastic time. Still a little fuzzy from the night before. But man, what a good time we had down there. And it was nice talking with all of you. We had kind of a table. And naturally, the talk of the day was movies of all different types. And then somehow we got on to Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers and stuff. It was just a good night all the way around. There was an awful lot of fun, live entertainment. We had a great time. And certainly looking forward to the next time we do something like that. And speaking of talking about movies, my God, I think I revealed half my script for today's show, talking with some folks around the table. And we do have an awful lot to cover today. So without any further ado, Cinematic Class is about to begin, and your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies. Before we get underway, let me remind you that our sponsor is the House of Firuza Barbershop and Cigar Lounge. We'll talk a little bit more about them later in the show. And don't forget, there is an official Outtakes with Rex Real gift shop, if you will, a gift of merch, whatever they're calling it nowadays, swag, they called it back in my day. And we do that through redbubble.com. You can get a lot of neat things in there. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later too, but I want to tip my hat to our sponsors here. You know, I got to start off the show once again saying, I told you so, because we have another woman-driven horror film that truly only a woman could appreciate. Now, writer and director Laura Moss weaves a real weird tale in Birth, Rebirth that is centered, surprisingly, on women's reproductive procedures and their instincts. Because the emphasis is on the emotional content of birth, it does not accent the horror elements of the tale, and as a result, the narrative moves nauseatingly slow, even though some of the subject is rather gruesome. The film stars Marin Ireland, Judy Reyes, A.J. Lister, and Breda Wool. It comes from the combined efforts of IFC and Shudder. You know, those are two pretty big names when it comes to horror films. And when you put them together, this one should have been an awful lot better.
Your daughter's name?
Lila Morales.
Maybe she can help another kid out there.
You can leave now.
Do you remember a little girl who passed away last Friday? They say they don't have her. I'm trying to figure out what to tell the mother.
I don't want any trouble. I just need to know what happened.
It can't help you.
This experiment is bigger than your daughter.
My daughter is not an experiment.
That's Muriel.
She died 2 months ago.
She can't be left alone. Do you have a pullout?
I have a futon. She's regenerating.
If I didn't show up, what would you have done to her?
I am doing everything I can to keep her alive.
The point of life. It isn't just one thing.
What is the point?
You know, it's been a while since I gave something away on the show, so let's correct that if we can. You know, imagine this now. Your father is a magic man, a shaman, if you will, and he's known throughout the land. But you don't believe in any of that hocus pocus stuff. In fact, you're so against it, you set up a scam operation. You will go around to people's homes exorcising demons, but it's all a send-up. You have a guy working levers and stuff like that because you don't really believe. Well, if you have a setup like that, then you know eventually the son is going to come across something he can't explain and something his dad knows all about. That's the process here behind this movie, Dr. Cheon and the Lost Talisman. You know, folks, this movie is an awful lot of fun. I've been telling you a lot about the rise in the popularity of the Asian markets, especially the Korean markets. And one of the genres that they kind of excel in that's not so big over here is fantasy. And this can definitely be considered fantasy. This is a movie that I think is, frankly, it's meant for the whole family. I think kids would enjoy this an awful lot. You got a lot of fantastical creatures and, you know, beams and all this kind of stuff going on in here. I'm going to let you add this to your home video collection. And what we have here is the deluxe Blu-ray edition with a whole lot of extras and fun stuff on the end of it. This one's good. It's good. Something the kids can sit around, the whole family can watch it and have a good time with this one. All you need to do is send me your name and return address, and I'll pop one of these bad boys in the mail to you. It's as simple as that. You can add this to your home video collection. Here now is a look at Dr. Cheon and the Lost Talisman.
건당 1,000만 원이어서 천박사라고 들었어요. 강도래는 어떻게 해요? 사람 아닌 것들.
쫓아내거나 뭐 적당히 타일러가지고 뭐 대화를 하거나. 뭐야 너?
그 누구만 있으면 뭐 이렇게 천바닥 뜰 수 있는 거죠.
근데 하필 칠성금 칼잡이가 나타난 거지. 원래 이런 놈들은 그냥 없앨 수가 없는 거야.
Send me your name and address, and I will send you Dr. Cheon and the Lost Talisman. You'll have a lot of fun with that one. It's out there, kids. It is definitely out there. You know, one thing I will say about Scalper, because as horror movies go, it's not particularly good, but it does have one of the grossest opening sequences I've seen in a long time. It's just cringing. But after that, the movie goes downhill, and it does so quickly. Jake Busey and Bei Ling star in this schlock B thriller. Both actors are good enough that they should be doing better films. It also stars Robert Mayano and Susan Priver. Now, the Scalper was a serial killer, but he was shot in the face by a psychic who helped the police solve the case some years ago. But now, it seems the Scalper is back, maybe from the dead, or could it be one of those nefarious twin brother schemes? Scalper is written, produced, and directed by Chad Farron. The editor is Jihad Farif. Now, Farif also cut Pig Killer. I did the review of that movie, I think 1 or 2 shows back. His technique has certainly not improved in the course of these 2 movies. And, you know, Pig Killer also starred Jake Busey and Bei Ling, and I think I said back then that they should be doing better things. This must have been a package deal. Sometimes they work those in Hollywood, where a couple of big name stars will sign on for roles in 2 or 3 schlock movies just as a package, and I think that's what happened here. Jeff Billings is the director of photography. He uses this blurred spot frame technique for the psychic visions, and he also strolls, some of the movie, he strolls into a spirit world, and he uses this same technique. These aren't effective, folks, not at all. In fact, as you're watching this movie, you may think that you're suffering from myopia. That's how bad it really is. There's a really cheesy song sequence in the middle of the film, and there's even more cheesy ghosts who keep popping in and out of the tail to try to help the story along. Scalper, it's simply brain dead.
You really think it was a scalper?
Yeah, I mean, can Andrew Lubitz have come back from the dead and started killing again?
Who has the most to gain from the scalper returning?
Something about this that's just not right. Anything happens to you, I would never forgive myself.
It's a copycat. Spurred on by the news and their obsession with that phony psychic.
You okay? Clementine. Clementine. Whoa, okay.
Is anybody out here?
Excuse me, pretty lady. His face was covered.
See? Who are you? Talk to me!
It's not him. It's not him.
Who then?
There's a whole lot more on tonight's show when Outtakes with Rex Reel continues right after this. House of Fairuza, barbershop and cigar lounge. I tell you, this is really one of the fun places to be. I told you at the beginning of the show that we had a great time there last night celebrating National Cigar Day, and we really did. There was live entertainment, great libations, food, and of course some great cigars. I sampled some things that are definitely being added to my list when it comes to cigar purchasing. You know, it was such a good night, a long night, and a fun night. We need to take a little break for a while. Things will be quiet in the cigar lounge for a little bit while we recoup everything, and that's probably a good time to think about getting yourself styled and profiled. Look at me. I'm getting a little shaggy too and need to go down and see Sam because he will make you look your best. And believe me, if you saw me without his working on this camera, you'd say, oh my God, how's that guy in a TV show? It is the House of Fairuza, barbershop and cigar lounge. They can fix you up with a multitude of different types of services and styles. Boy, the executive one is nice. They do every facials and everything. Oh, it's really great. And a plethora of products to make you look your best as well. House of Fairuza, barbershop and cigar lounge. It's located at the corner of South Park Road and Drake Road. Call Sam and make your appointment today. Welcome back to the show. If you thought Barbie was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's tonight's Biz Buzz. right, some good important news in the Biz Buzz this week. You know, when you mention the name George Soros, right away, conspiracy theorists come out of the woodwork. And there's conspiracy theories about everything with this man. And you got to take each of them with a grain of salt. But they're starting to look like there might be some substance to it. George Soros has bought out Audacity. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, Audacity is the second biggest radio broadcast network. They're right behind iHeartRadio as far as that's concerned. You know, a lot of the folks that I know that are still in radio, where I got my start, how many decades ago, they kind of see the writing on the wall here that Soros has bought this out in an election year. They're already getting their resume and audition tapes together and flooding the market, trying to make a move out of the Audacity network. You know, Audacity is also used as one of the prime sound editing companies. They have a lot of different programs for that. And, you know, with all of this stuff now about the fake photos and people being able to manipulate images and put things together and make things look very, very real that aren't real and never happened. Soros and his political wonks will now have control over audio, which is probably a little bit easier to manipulate than visuals. And in an election year, that may not be a good thing. Speaking of not being a good thing, Lily Gladstone needs to sit down. And dare I say, shut up. Okay, now, we all know what happened in the Super Bowl, right? The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl over the San Francisco 49ers, and during their celebration parade, there was a shooting, and people were killed and people were injured. After all of that happened, Gladstone decided she should stand up and make a stand. She is surrounded currently with a lot of good hype from Hollywood because she is nominated for Best Actress in her role in Killers of the Flower Moon. I did a review for that one. It's online. You can check it out. So she waits until after the Super Bowl is over, after the shooting is over, and after all the buzz about the shooting begins to die down, and then comes out and says the name for the Kansas City football team and their signature tomahawk chalk are both offensive. Really? Folks, I want to tell you something. For the outdoor game, okay, the Philadelphia Flyers got off the bus and they were all dressed like Rocky. Now, this was a game that was played in New Jersey. The New York Rangers came off their bus and they were dressed as members of the Sopranos. Okay? In Jersey. Am I offended by this? Italian stereotypes apparently are okay. Everyone just sits back and laughs. Yeah, Gladstone is in her Andy Warhol 15 minutes. So let me tell you something there, Lily. You better enjoy the ride now and then sit down and zip it. You'll be relegated to the trade magazine obscurity at the same time next year. Unreal. Finally, the feminists and the girly men who ran to theaters to see the horrible Barbie. I mean, really, did anybody like that movie at all? No, it was horrible. It made money, though. And when something makes money, viewers are now going to be assaulted with, ready, movie versions of Barney, Bob the Builder, that'll be helmed by J-Lo. I don't know how that fits in. Polly Pocket, Masters of the Universe, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, that one will star Vin Diesel, and Magic 8 Ball. Now, out of all of those, the only one that sounds somewhat promising is Magic 8 Ball, and that's because Blumhouse is doing that. They want to take the Magic 8 Ball and do for it what they did with Ouija. Another PG-13 horror movie, I guess. You know, they always say elections have their consequences, and apparently buying a theater ticket does. Too. You interested in seeing any of those movies? I know I'm not. I think it's time that we get out of this morass peel back the veils of time and go back to the early Cretaceous period for the nation's first and only prehistoric film critic, Rex Reel.
Quirky action flick from Japan features one of the best fight scenes in quite some time. Tax Sakaguchi versus Ishii Togo, who is a Jeet Kune Do master. It's a story of an aging action star thrown into a real life and death situation. The highlight is the climactic fight scene. Writer-director Yamaguchi Yudai adds in a plot reveal shift in the closing minutes, reminiscent of the Star Trek The Next Generation episode where Jean-Luc Picard is a mental patient writing the episodes of the Enterprise on his cell wall. This movie was originally called The One Percenters and is worth a look.
なんでアクションにリアリズムが存在しないのか。振り付けをただやってるだけのダンスなんですよね。リアルアクション度を追求するならもはや自分でやらねえとな。
これ以上に面白い箱はなかなかないね。
警察バカかお前、繋がるわけないだろ。
この状況をリアルに切り抜ければ、この経験は必ず敏郎さんの映画に魂を吹き込みます。
一部始終取っとけよ。映画と現実は違うんだよ。負けたら終わり。初めましてだな。ミリタリーオタクのヤクザなんかに構ってられねえんだ。つうかお前何者？ファンの期待に応えるのが俺の仕事だ。その道を極めることができるのが全体の 1%。選ばれし存在。
I got to tell you, this is the movie Rex was talking about. It was originally called The One Percenters, but now that it's released in North America, it's being renamed 1% Warrior. Folks, Rex mentioned the fight scene at the end of this. When these two guys meet, it is probably one of the best fight scenes I've seen since Keanu Reeves fought Mark Dacascos at the end of John Wick 3. It is that, in fact, it's better than that. This fight scene, the movie's only 90 minutes long, which is perfect for a movie, all right? But that fight scene alone, when I watched this bad boy, I had to go back and watch it 3 more times. It's about a 10 to 12 minute fight scene, so it's really worthwhile. It took me over 2 hours to watch this movie just because I kept rewatching the fight scene. It was an awful lot of fun. We even talked about that last night, too, so good times were had by all. Hey, I want to throw out a couple of quick notes to you here. You are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, probably one of the only critics in the world that really appreciated the movie Avatar: The Last Airbender. Not those blue people that were Smurfy elves. Yeah. Boy, that movie, when it first came out, was just ripped apart. But I have to tell you, I really enjoyed it. And it was intended to be a kid's movie because it's basically a kid's story. Well, they tried it in a cartoon, and now it is a series on Netflix, and I think they've done a pretty good job with it. The Season 1 is 8 episodes long. I'm currently on episode, I believe, 6, so I'm almost done with the thing. And I'm having an awful lot of fun with it. I really am. It's another one of those shows that it's meant for kids, so the kids can sit down and watch it. There's nothing, at least through the first 6 episodes, there's nothing untoward that you would have to worry about, or any, sneaky agendas coming up on you or anything like that. It's just a nice little kind of kids fantasy program, and it's an awful lot of fun, and I think that when you eyeball it, you'll have some fun too. Hey, while we're talking about things on the streamers, I found a movie called Badland Hunter. Stars Don Lee, and he's the Korean version of Sammo Hung. Remember Sammo? Yeah, the kind of a big beefy guy that can fight like crazy. This movie was actually an awful lot of fun. I enjoyed it immensely. I had just got done watching Thanksgiving with Eli Roth, and as Eli Roth movies go, this one was, wow, his latest is very, very tame, very, very mild. The Badland Hunter had probably 10 times the body count, and they were pretty gruesome body attacks. So if you like really good action films and your hero fighting, indestructible Universal type soldiers, this movie was an awful lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy that as well.
야, 정신 차려. 이것도 사람 아니다. 야, 다 살아있냐?
And finally, earlier this week, I was able to go to a screening for Dune Part 2. Now, I did an extensive review for Dune Part 2. We have behind-the-scene footage. We have interviews with some of the stars. It is all online, so check the social sites for Outtakes with Rex Reel to see my review on this. It's kind of lengthy. It's almost show-length time, but it really gives you a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and what have you. And I'll tell you all about Dune Part 2. But the reason I bring this up, before the movie started, they showed previews of coming attractions. One of the previews they showed was for the new Godzilla x Kong, the new Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a packed IMAX theater. And when that trailer ended, the audience booed. This is what Warner Brothers and Legendary, because of their ties with the Universal, have done to Godzilla and the Monsterverse. This is going to be interesting when it comes out. I've never seen anyone boo a Godzilla trailer before. This was the entire theater. It was not a good thing. Interesting stuff. Hey, don't forget about the Redbubble shop, official Outtakes with Rex Reel merchandise. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight's show, so we've got to skedaddle out of here. Look on the social sites for my review of Dune 2, and until next time, you have learned what you have learned, so here endeth your lesson.